Hey everybody, Jay Young here. This is another episode of the Jay Young Show, and I'm really excited this week. I got Jordan with me, my co-host Jordan Soto. Jordan, come on in. Where are you? There you are. I got Jordan and I got Todd here, man, at the same time. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence and how it's going to affect everything moving forward, from the kids in school, like my daughter's dating someone that's getting their petroleum engineering degree, and how's artificial intelligence going to affect his career going forward 5, 10, 15 years compared to all the other things that go along with this. But hey, first off, let's start off with some oil and gas news like we normally do. We talked about the crude oil production in the federal offshore Gulf of America, not
that weird
Mexico.
to say now? It's kind of weird.
Is that kind of weird?
It is still
not about it.
kind of weird.
Gulf of America. Oh man, what else is Trump getting himself into these days besides L.A. and all these different things? Is
The Clash of the Titans.
oh my gosh, that dude's and it's going to get Gavin Newsom elected president of the United States of the Gulf of America. He's going to be the Gulf of America president. No. Anyway, getting back to production, yeah, why not? Talk about 1.8 million barrels a day in 2025, and it's going to go to 1.81. So, man, new field developments, and we're going to talk about how AI. And Todd and I had lunch on Saturday. I don't know if we just sat there forever, didn't we?
We sat there a long time.
Todd and I are
Catching
sitting next to each other, and Jordan's in Houston, and I don't like it when there's two of us sitting. So I said, let's split it in three, but let's kind of talk to the camera instead of, talking left and right. But anyway,
That's kind of like you're looking.
We'll see how that works out.
yeah, we'll see how that works out. But anyway, talking about production and oil and gas news right now, the biggest news that I can see, is the price of oil and what's going on with the price of oil. And like I was talking to somebody today, a big IRA, and I said, actually, $100 oil makes me more nervous than $60 oil. Well, why? Because I don't know how much more upside you have in the price of oil at 100. But I know there's a lot of upside or potential upside to oil at $60 a barrel. So when we're coming out now and thinking about they're knocking 20, 30% of the people off the grid right now from drilling for oil and gas. So when we're going out and getting, rig counts or pipe or, services to frack wells, I know that there's a lot less people in line to do that, which brings prices down, which is good for drilling. So I think the old thing is buy low, sell high. I don't know. Todd went to Rice MBA. Did they teach you buy low, sell high?
They mentioned that.
They mentioned something about that. It's best to buy low, sell high. Yeah. So therefore, we're doing the same thing with drilling right now, and I'm excited about getting involved in some good drilling prospects now because we do feel like that the price will go up in the future. So, Jordan, anything you want to talk about? Starting off?
I'm really excited about our conversation today. I just did some interviews at the AWS Energy Symposium, and that was one of the key conversations there was how do you transform a company to it was enterprise modernization and data readiness for AI potential and automation opportunities. And doing that at the enterprise level is such a overwhelming task. And so just was able to sit down and talk with IBM, NVIDIA, S&P Global, Nasuni, so many companies. I mean, we did 11 interviews talking about enterprise data modernization and getting companies AI ready, and then breaking down silos, transferring data across different departments and in different locations and offshore rigs. And just, it was really intriguing to see what companies are doing to help other companies you know, centralize data and then make sense of it so you can make actionable real-time decisions with that data. Because there's just, when you have like a petabyte of data and you're trying to transfer it from onshore to offshore and then like make real-time decisions, like no one's going to be able to consume all of that data and then make informed decisions. So like, how can you utilize AI to then make sense of it and then provide actionable insights? And so being able to have those type of conversations and make sense of it, because, you know, Jay, we've talked about this so many times. It's like, what even is AI? What's machine learning? And like, is this conflated with automation? And what does this even mean for a company? And how can we take that first step and even get started, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
even just understanding what it is, but like
No, that's a great,
integrating.
yeah. It's a great way to have, that's a good segue into Mr. Garner. I'll introduce Todd Garner. Todd Garner, we've known each other for, quite a few years, going back
A decade.
going back to the royalty days and all that. We kind of had a little,
That's right.
you know,
Probably
but-
20 years.
yeah. Whoa, 20 years. And we're supposed to look at the camera, not at each other. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll see how that works.
good segue on Todd Garner. Todd has got a great mind. Rice MBA, as I mentioned a minute ago. Really, really smart. Worked for King for a while, and then when we had the separation with the Oak Tree facility and the Strawn Petroleum, you know, Todd started working on something, and we talked like a year ago or so, and Todd's like, hey, I'm working on this thing called, you know, AI, and I go, man, what does that mean? And he started talking about quantum. And I go, oh yeah, now I'm really lost. I mean, talk about, I didn't know what AI stood for then. I do now. And but then he started talking about quantum, and I'm like, yeah. And then I said data, because I'm a redneck, and I said data, and he goes, Jay, it's really data. And I go, oh, okay. I go, all right. Well, I don't know. I'm lost. So
Okay,
I'm gonna give somebody the
why
floor.
is it data and data? It's like tomato. Is it?
I know.
Like, is it really a difference?
It just sounds so much smarter,
God, let us
and
know.
you're so much more educated that if you talk about data
But
instead of,
is that plural?
oh, that's a good thought too. Yeah,
It is plural.
it is plural.
Datum is
Ah,
singular.
really? Yeah, that's something.
Now you learn something.
Oh.
Write that down on the Jay Young Show. We learn something new every day. So anyway, let's.
We get that across the.
Yeah, we need to scroll a little, whatever you call that little thing down there. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Todd. Todd, tell me what started in on this AI deal. What kind of, did you have a dream and all of a sudden it just goes, man, I'm gonna start talking about AI, or what led you to think about AI, and kind of tell us a bit about your background.
Texas Tech engineer,
Oh,
BS in engineering physics,
Red Raider.
and Rice MBA, went straight through finance and entrepreneurship. 35 years in energy, 15 developing, permitting, financing, constructing, and operating large-scale natural gas-fired power plants. 20 years ago, got into oil and gas, and I didn't know anything about oil and gas. Like, that's in the ground, right? Okay, we'll start there. And was hired by a friend of ours. I was director of finance, was made CFO, and I've been in C-suite positions all the way through, run oil and gas companies, run my own oil and gas company. I'll leave out the part about the technical team at King. Well, now I can't. I guess I blew that, didn't I? Great guys, first of all.
I was trying to say, where are you going to go with this?
No, zero disparaging remarks. They were really, really smart guys. They just didn't have the tools. And I was making the decisions. I mean, ultimately, Jay was making the decisions, but you get the idea. I was ahead of this fund we had, and I was asking the technical team, and I'll spare you the metrics with all the oil and gas lingo, but what's this metric here where you want to drill the well? Well, it's between 4 and 8%. Same thing with the next metric. Well, it's between such and such. So not very scientific. Okay, we were drilling horizontal wells. Where are we going to land the lateral? Well, if you got 200 feet, you're going to land it in the middle, the top, the bottom, 1/3, 2/3. And it was, I don't know, we'll flip a coin. And again, nothing disparaging. They just didn't have the tools. Same thing with the frac recipe. How did we do there?
This is 2015.
2015, 16, 17.
Yeah.
Right.
New field, just been discovered. Nobody's drilled horizontal strong wells in this one formation. And so it was kind of a new era, if you will, for drilling a brand new field that we had discovered. And they didn't really have a lot of it. There wasn't a lot of data. Number one, but number two is we're kind of making decisions on our own or whatever it is on the fly based on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, I say a lot, relatively a lot of vertical wells. So we could study what was there. But anyway, that's just a point of reference. So after I left King, there was the prior administration, which I'll try to be PC and say they made no secret of their disdain for oil and gas. So it made it tough. And I consider myself a finance guy. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do for the next 4 years? So I took a fintech boot camp through Rice, which was all coding and Python. And I was interested in crypto because crypto was kind of hot then.
Yeah.
And I coded, wrote a blockchain, wrote some smart contracts on Ethereum, realized there's no real magic in that. But what I did discover was machine learning. And it blew my mind, taking these massive data sets, running them through numerous algorithms and coming up with response variables, the answers that you want. And so I immediately enrolled in Rice and got it was an online program for a Master's of Science in Masters of Data Science. And as Jay was mentioning, before I started, I think I literally got a tap on the head from divine intervention saying, Todd, subsurface data science, dust off your brain and get busy. So I followed that all the way through. And going back to our tech team, that was going to be my thesis project, was using existing data. And the way you figure out where to drill the new well is you look at the neighborhood and you try to figure out what the formation is where you are. So what I wanted to do was to be able to use the existing data, well logs, seismic, core data, production, completion, et cetera, to figure out what's the optimal point where you should drill the well.
Right.
And know all of the specific metrics that I didn't mention before, knowing where to land the lateral, what the frac recipe should be. And it's expanded since then, but that was the genesis of it. And machine learning, what I learned at SMU, it still astounds me. But, AI is kind of a scary word. People are like, Skynet's going to come alive. It's just math. It really is just math. Now, it's complicated math, but it's math at the end of the day. So what I found after I got into it was what's being done today. You've got, for example, 200 wells. You've got a tech team that would look at each well and each data type from every well manually. So you're talking about one well a day. So 200 wells would take 7 man-months. So you could throw 100 people at that and get it done quicker, but it's still going to cost the same. And it's still going to have the same bias and subjectivity. I don't think it's any secret that there's a lot of old codgers out there who are like, nah, we're going to do it there. We've been doing it for 40 years. And I apologize to whoever that fits.
Yeah, thanks. But majority of our listeners are.
Yeah.
No.
So, did I just piss them off?
We still love you.
So,
they know,
but
they're familiar.
I mean, that's why we're having the conversation, because like you said, like, it is scary for a lot of companies. Like I think a lot of times, like you said, it's partially the verbiage that's used, which is, I don't even know what AI is. I don't even know like what it entails. And then the other part of that, right, which is really the scary part, is, well, I have to clean up my data in order to make it usable for AI. And that's, to me, kind of the scary part, because data can be all over the place, and then you're trying to, organize it so that you can craft the algorithms that make your data make sense, so that it's able to be used and implemented. So I have a few questions, but I'm going to let you continue.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue. I know of and embrace a couple of different kinds. What we're using is an ingestion engine. So I think of them as those machines that crunch up the branches and kick off. So you can throw anything into it, and it'll sort, map, do what's called exploratory data analysis. And I'll spare you that. And cleans it up, removes it either removes zeros or imputes zeros given the rest of the data. You can put the median in there, and it won't skew it one way or the other.
Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking Matrix right now. I'm thinking all of the ones and the zeros on the screen.
Yeah.
And then you normalize it, which means you take all these different types of data that have, the units could be 200,000, and then you've got millidarcies here. So when you normalize it, you bring everything down to between 0 and 1, and you've still got the relative measure, but that's how you feed into the machine learning algorithms. There's another one called OSDU, the Open Subsurface Data Universe, and that's being pushed by the super majors. And we're looking into that. What it does is it breaks down virtually every type of subsurface data and puts it into computer code with metadata, so that it's got all the information you need, and it's built to perform machine learning and AI. It enables it.
A lot about that at the AWS.
I figured you would.
Yeah,
that's good. Hey, let me break this down for us a little bit, and from the standpoint of not getting those let's go down to 2 or 3 syllable words instead of. I knew Todd's getting ready to get a drink of water, and I knew it was going to make him laugh. But so let's just say we're going into an area that we're studying right now. Let's say it's up in North Texas. Let's say Grayson County area that's been drilled up. I mean, been drilled. Thousands and thousands of wells have been drilled up there. And I'm an operator, and I go, you know what? I think I'm interested in looking up there, but I don't know where to drill or what's the best place to drill or what's the best reserves or what's left. Okay, so I would go in with someone like Todd and say, Todd, hey, let me know what area that I need to drill in. Let's say there's a four county area. And some of the stuff we're working on exclusively, I don't want to get into too much detail, but let's just say if there was 4 counties up on the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, or maybe into Oklahoma, and tell me, download all the data that you have or that we can put together. Download all that data. Take all those boxes of where all these older men have all these boxes and boxes of information in their closets or garages, input it into your system, and then I'd like to know, hey, where do I need to drill? Tell me what formation I want to drill in, because there may be 5, 6 different formations that are there that are not exploited yet. Let's say you have a formation at 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 feet. Well, maybe the 7,000 is already depleted. You know, it's a lot easier to know if you have the information already based on data that's in your system. So then Todd's company could come in and say, hey, don't drill here, drill over here. But also, not only will you drill here, this is the formation that you want to drill in, and you want to stay in this level for this long, and use this frac technology that's been used up here. I mean, just talking about a universe of people that normally come up with that information, and you hope that you have the information, at hand, or possibly that you can use. Because to drill a well, it's cost $10 million. I mean, 12 million bucks. I mean, it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
Right.
That's not experimental money.
Yeah, it's not. And you want to make sure that you're drilling in areas that have oil and gas. I mean, unless you are drilling exploration type stuff. And majority of the companies today don't. I mean, they don't. We don't want to drill exploration wells. We want to drill wells where we know before we drill the well what's in the ground. And so if we spend, $10 million, we're going to get 300,000 to 400,000 plus barrels of oil out of the ground, and then you can work up your metrics on your commodity price to see if it makes sense. Yes, ma'am.
Dumb question here. Is that part of the reason that when we're looking at the price of oil being at like 63 or dollars versus like $100, whenever you're looking at going in and drilling, is it like when you're drilling, the cost of the oil is not really what you're looking for? It's more of like when the well has been completed, that's like when the price of oil matters.
That makes up a segue for a whole nother show, probably, which Todd could be in because he is an extremely bright finance guy. But there's 3 factors. There's the cost of drilling and completing a well, which could be in between 8 to 10 million based on the price of oil. If the price of oil goes to $30, you can drill those wells really, really cheap, because nobody's drilling. You can call anybody at any time and get any type of service you want. But the cost of drilling a well, CapEx, is 1. 2, the only thing that's pretty constant that you have after you drill a well is how much oil and gas will come out of the ground. That doesn't really change, right? You drill it, you complete it. Now, where is it? You want to know, and that's where the AI stuff comes in on how much you'll get out of the ground. But that's more constant. And then the price of oil makes up, those 3 factors make up a internal rate of return that you want to see from an oil and gas investment. And you can tweak that and say, well, this would happen at $60 a barrel. It's going to cost more to drill it at 80, but the price, but the cost is going to be more, but you're going to get more out of the other end of it. So but anyway, let's go back into let's go back into
Yeah.
finding costs, because I think what
Okay. So then we're looking at AI and we're
Yeah.
looking at drilling, right? And
Yeah.
we're using the data and crafting a
plan,
A subsurface picture of what's down there.
right?
right. So is that a part of the investor pitch that you have, Jay? Like whenever you're pitching to investors, you're utilizing that to say, okay, well, we've used AI to look at this area, or is that a potential opportunity for you, like business wise? I'm trying to connect the two dots here in my
Yeah,
head.
well,
So I'm looking at this
yeah,
as like, okay,
like-
we have subsurface and the data model set that's happening.
Yeah,
in
that's
AI.
good. That's a good question. How can we use it in our daily lives, I guess? And like the Bivens Ranch, we have 60,000 acres there. Apache drilled 18 wells, and they went to the Alpines, so therefore we have data. There's also vertical wells there. I'm not sure how much, but there's a lot of information that we have, boxes and boxes, if you were using that today, of information that we have on that field. So what our goal would be to get all that information and run it through the computer systems of the data that is generated by this AI. And then Todd will tell us, hey, okay, instead of drilling these wells over here, it looks like based on subsurface that it'll be better to drill the well over here instead of over here. And this is how you frack it or fracture stimulate the well after you drilled it for the maximum results. And that's where I see a good part of this is, but also, we're drilling some wells in Mid-Con, the same information in Mid-Con. You have so much data from all these vertical, horizontal wells, this huge area, and then we could go in with Todd and say, Todd, tell me, what are you seeing in regards to all the data that you have based on where are the biggest wells, where are they located, how deep were they, what formation were they drilled in, what was the fracture technology that they used, why is it good, what's left, is there any oil left out here, or is it just, let's go somewhere else. So it's basically, we want to put on, Todd and I talked about it on Saturday, which I'm one of my best lunches I've had in a long time, was because he wanted to talk about AI, and I'm very interested in knowing more about this for our investors. And he said, hey, you need to have powered by PINN or powered by AI, on your books, which is very true, because AI is going to take over a lot of jobs, not all of them, and people are going to have to shift some of the things that they do based on their career paths. But just for a basic, what do you see? What do you see with that?
Candidly, the tools we're building and the tools we have built are for the tech team, the wide tech team. I don't see anybody's job being lost there. Now, I don't own the company, so I don't know, the hiring practices. But in terms of what the technical team does, I know that they've got 5,831 other things to do. And what this does is it collapses the time.
Right.
Literally so let's say you got 10,000 wells that have been drilled out there where you're talking about the 4 counties. We can upload all that data and give you the answers on the same day. Versus 10,000 wells would take man years to evaluate.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what happens is just budget. You'll look at 5 or 10 nearby, and that's not necessarily adequate. So it really makes a big difference. And one of my goals is, and it all comes down to the data. What data do you have? And we'll be able to clean it. Well logs are infamously known for being corrupt. Well, I mean, it's a physical tool, and it makes sense. So we can correct that, and there's a lot of companies that can correct that. We're not special, but we can fix that. Garbage in, garbage out, and
Right.
try to do the best we can. One of my goals is, and especially with seismic, if you've got 10,000 wells, I want to be able to build a gradient. So a shaded area between all of the wells that will tell you the porosity, permeability, saturation, clay content, reservoir temperature, and pressure anywhere you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of the user experience with the platform is, what price deck do you want to use? Do you want to use aggressive? Do you want to use an SEC flat? What do you want to use? And then you could play sensitivities with it. And we'll end up with a set of economics, just like a PhD win or Aries run, but with a lot more complexity built in under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
So we should be able to give you a ranked, in order of economic value, your top 5 or 10 wells.
So locations.
The locations.
Potential locations. Saying, hey,
I'm sorry?
potential locations that you can drill. So
that's right.
I give you an area and say, hey, this is where I feel like that we have acreage, and then you can say, hey, these are your best, this is your best shot. Like right now, we're getting ready to drill some wells up there, and I'm like, let's go drill our best well first. And everybody goes, I don't know if I know which one that is, and you would give me more of a hypotheses.
I can give you the data.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just it. We can give you the data of what we see below and why you should look there. Because if you've got all of those metrics, porosity, permeability, et cetera, you can toggle those off and on that shaded, just the reservoir.
Right.
And it'll end up being a heat map. And the use case on that is, typically, if you got a section, you'll drill a well. Then, depending on the field rules, you'll drill one 631 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can look and tell you that you're going to drill a $10 million water well. But if you move it 1,000 feet over, you're going to drill a good well. That's my ultimate use case. And that's saving a lot of money. And it's making a lot of money instead of drilling a water well.
Right.
I haven't seen too many of those be economically viable.
No, when you're losing that kind of money. Jordan, what does that mean to you? Does that help understand or teach you something about it? What is your thoughts about the AI and drilling? And
I think it just goes back to what we were discussing earlier, which is you're able to make better decisions because you have deeper insights in the data that's
Bingo.
available. And you're able to make sense of, like, you're able to have transparency because you have a full picture approach. You have the context of what's going on so that you can make more informed decisions. Now, where I'm trying to make a little bit more sense of this is actually a little higher level. So, like, again, maybe dumb question here, but I want to know, like, I feel like we often hear AI and ML in the same sentence, and let's separate them. They're different things. Let's define them. Help us.
Okay, I can help. AI is the umbrella over artificial intelligence. Machine learning is underneath that umbrella. So machine learning is AI, but it's probably 85% of AI. And then there's other types, scholarly folks are chasing stuff that I don't understand.
Okay,
What is ML? What do you mean? I don't understand.
What do you mean?
Well, machine learning, ML. What does that mean? Or why did you bring that up? Or what was that? What was that?
Well, it gets tossed around.
Yeah, people are usually like, how is AI and ML enhancing visibility in the energy industry?
Okay.
Or like, but people are asking those questions, but they're using it in the same sentence. And I think oftentimes it's used in the same sentence because people don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Even though they're very much tied together, there is a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. AI is the wrapper. Machine learning is the biggest subset of AI. So when you say machine learning, you're saying artificial intelligence. It's just a specific methodology. There's a lot of machine learning algorithms that will do things that will blow your mind.
I mean, the first thing I want
Look up a artificial neural network. Google that or Chat GPT that.
I'm gonna get Neuralink. Elon's gonna come after me. It's gonna be a Black Mirror episode, I feel like.
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, the first thing I thought of when I thought about, and Todd and I had this conversation in the very beginning, and he was saying, he said, there's so much information. There's so much information out there in the world today, and it's all, you just ask it one question like you do Chat GPT today or Perplexity or whatever it is. You just ask it one little question. Hey, tell me what's the largest donor to TCU in the last 30 years or whatever, and man, it just spits this stuff out. Unbelievable, right? And that's kind of the same thing with this. It's like, hey, tell me where the wells have been drilled, the best strong wells or the best oil wells in Texas, and you just put that in, and all of a sudden it black. It tells you exactly what it is. But it's the same. Yeah.
We're going back to data management, and like Todd had said, like garbage in, garbage out. So when you're looking at all of the complexity of the oil and gas industry and all of the different subsets of information that are going into the data, working that into algorithms and then making sense of all of that, like, and the other thing too is like, I think we've talked about this in previous podcasts as well, like with Corva, whenever they're looking at rigs, like something that maybe looks so similar to something else, and like the AI may have conflated that with the wrong like diagnosis, whereas like a human eye could be like, oh, because of these other things that I'm seeing here, and I've seen this before and experienced this before, this is actually this diagnosis for what's happening here. And I think that that's really intriguing, because the more that the data set grows, then the more precise things can be, but it takes taking that data in and then making sense of that data. And to Todd's point, I don't know that the technical teams will really be diminished, because you still need people to be shepherds of the data.
Yeah,
and
you
be
can't
able to.
You can't replace the tech team. You've got to have the human interaction.
We're learning constantly, like what we're the context of conversations and what's happening with people is not going to be replicated in an AI or ML algorithm that's built until it's continued to be built. And I just don't know that maybe by the end of like our lifetime, but I don't really know that we're going to get there now.
Good point. That's a really good point, because it's only as good as the data you put in it, right? And if you don't actually put in the data, then nobody's going to know more about it, and you got to start from scratch. You might as well go back to your boxes in your garage to bring that data out. And do all that stuff.
Right.
But it's just but you have to input all that data. So that's the big part. Let's wrap it up. I mean, we're about at time, but I wanted Todd to kind of give us his last little conclusion about what he thinks and where he sees the company going, and tell us the name of his company, PINN AI. Again, that's
PINN AI. Our website is www.pinn-ai.com.
all right.
And all the information's on there. We're about to do an overhaul of the site. It's fairly rudimentary, but it's explanatory.
Yeah. What do you see? What do you see going on?
Like, you guys are focusing on other bigger things like the AI.
Yeah, than a website. Who needs a website? But what do you see in the next 5 years for your company? What's going on?
Oh, I can tell you, our purpose is when we build something, we are building it to make the lives of the folks in the oil and gas industry easier. So for the tech team, don't worry. We're not after your job. We're out to help you. You're going to collapse the time. You're going to decrease the price by up to 90%. And it's going to be much more accurate, machine learning accurate. There's no human bias or whatever into it. We've got a roadmap that's pretty long. We're going to put out an accounting package, a production optimization, a predictive maintenance, and a land lease, courthouse records kind of module. And then we're going to keep innovating on our core platform to provide the tech team with what they need. And I really mean make their lives better, because I know a lot of folks lay awake at night worrying about, oh my God, I just made a $15 million decision. Is this going to be a dry hole? Am I going to lose my job? No, I want those people out on the lake somewhere enjoying their lives. And so that is our purpose. And beyond that, and I'll just give a teaser, I've just brought on a partner, and she's a guru in quantum computing. And that's a whole different episode.
It is.
But
not me, dude. I'm out.
I'm not a numbers person.
Well, you think going from, man years to 1 day,
Yeah.
it just goes that much faster. And you can look at that much more data. And the holy grail is reservoir simulation.
Right. I love the idea. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'd love to hire people that know that information and can drill those kind of wells. So I'll give you my summary real quick, and then I'll let Jordan have her time. But I think with what's going on today, yes, we do need more information faster, and it's so much better if the data is put in properly, which I think it will be. Then you have things at your fingertips that we don't have today. Because that's what, geology, engineering, finance, land, that's what it's all about is, having a geologist that you can go to and looking for a prospect and saying, hey, where should we drill? Based on the information, where should we drill? Very important, obviously. But the geologist is normally pretty optimistic. He's got the gas and he's thinking about, whoa, here we go. And then the engineer comes back and slips on that brake and says, wait a minute, it's going to cost more to drill there than we thought, or the reserves aren't where we thought they were. And so the production and blah, blah, EURs, all this, and that's going to really throw the economics into a tizzy, because if it costs you more money to drill, the wells and then you don't get as much out, obviously that's not good. So that's what I see from AI is all the information. It allows operators like us to go into areas that haven't necessarily been totally exploited. I mean, there's a deal out there right now that I heard about a year ago. It's still there today. And I'm just thinking, man, I know there's a lot of oil and gas there on that. It's a 30,000 acre play and it's a incredible opportunity, but I don't know everything about the project right now. And I'd like to know where have all the wells been drilled, what's left, a lot of meat on the bone. Where should we drill? How can we drill it? And all that. So that's what I think that AI is. And I know that's kind of a long deal, but for us and our investors, having that information, so important to know, hey, before we spend money in an area, we've already got a little, we got some help here, and it's not just from, some gurus or whatever. It's powered by artificial intelligence, powered by AI, and it's information that we need going forward in our funds that will make our investors a lot happier because they'll be making more money. That's what a lot of investors do. So I'm excited about the opportunity. Look forward to talking more about Todd or talking more with Todd about where the company's going and how they can help, how we can help each other.
One thing that I should mention is this is primarily for the tech team. I mean, obviously it's for you because you see the savings right down to the bottom line, but it's also kind of a dream come true for those looking to acquire assets and eventually for the financiers, for them to be able to really dig into the granularity that you don't really get right now. I mean, I'm not really harping on PhD Win or Aries, but they take OpEx records and production records, and there may be some geology in there, but I've never seen it.
No, there's not. There's not. Jordan, what do you think?
Well,
Hey, conclude us up here. 5 minutes.
Yeah, market.us came out with an article and they said that the oil and gas market is projecting like $737 million towards generative AI initiatives in the oil and gas industry. And I just think that this is really interesting because I honestly think that number is a little low. By 2033, by the way, for sustainability, safety, efficiency, boosting all of those things. And I just, AI will always, I think now that it's, reared its head, I think we'll always have a place in the oil and gas industry. I think people will always have a place in the oil and gas industry. I think that those two things together are going to take the oil and gas industry to a place that it's not seen before. And I think it's already starting to do so. Now, it's going to take a while for us to realize the future that people are projecting. But I think through the information that we are talking about here today and the ideas that are coming from, like Todd said, like we're building the future now that we're looking to see later. We're at the beginning of this world. It is a little Wild West territory right now. We'll continue to refine and get fine-tuned to then just get quicker, get faster, get safer, more sustainable, more scalable, and things like that. But, at the end of the day, I think we should not forget that AI is powered by oil and gas as well, because it needs a lot of power in order to run and be sustained. So I think that there's kind of like this full picture loop that I hope people don't get lost on, that this is powering the future that people are wanting and craving. And oil and gas is an integral part of that.
That's great.
And Jay, by the way, we have Gen AI inside our platform right now.
What's that?
Like
good?
Chat GPT.
Oh, really? Okay. Is that good? that a secret? No. Wasn't it?
No, so we have, so
This is how Todd and I, we worked together 4 years, and it's like all these times he just talks way above my head, and I'm just like, I tell you again.
It's okay. Generative AI is Gen AI. Generative AI is
it's ChatGPT, it's large language models, and how those work is you feed in about 200 billion documents, and then it regurgitates, and it also goes out and searches on the web. But we've got one, we're training it for oil and gas and have it inside our platform right now so that when somebody gets some results, they can go, well, what if we did this and get some really strong answers?
Yeah, that's great.
You know what I love though, Jay, is that you are asking what people want to ask. They just are like, I think when people start talking about AI and stuff, they're like, oh yeah. And you're like, tell me what that is. And I appreciate it because there are some times too where I'm in the same boat. And I'm like, I don't know. Let's just say yes.
Well, the good thing about Jordan and I being hosts on the same show here is that, hey, if we don't know, we're not going to know, and we're not going to say we know, and we're not going to be caught in that. So that's good. That's good news. So I appreciate that. But no, that's great information. We just downloaded. We got all these boxes, like hundreds, not about hundreds, but we got, I bet about 100 boxes that we had, and we downloaded them into a system with a company that we used and all that information is inputted into computers now, because they made us throw the boxes away. Rex wouldn't let us throw the boxes away. He's like, don't throw them away. There could be something in there that you don't know. A log from 1935. I'm like,
you gotta love Rick.
Oh my gosh, we put a match to it. It just had a bonfire. But all that information now is stored. Yeah, exactly.
Is it digitized?
It is digitized.
So we can run that in. When I say throw everything in, I mean everything. Hand scribbled notes, documents. There's something called what is it? OCR, optical character recognition, or something that we can read those documents. Paper well logs.
Yeah.
We can read those.
Wow.
And I mean, just
wow.
It's all about the data.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Synthesizing the information so that you can utilize it in a way that actually makes sense for you. That is in a nutshell, like what the importance of AI is.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Jordan, thank you very much for being here. And Todd, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure. Great seeing you again. And I enjoyed our conversation, and I look forward to learning more about what we can do. And as Todd talked, I was like, well, wait a minute. I think we could use that. I think this is a good fit in here for what we're doing and trying to accomplish for our investors. So, man, I look forward to it, Todd. Thank you very much for being here today and and teaching
Thanks
me and
for
Jordan.
having me.
Absolutely. Teaching Jordan and I something we didn't really know. I mean, Jordan, I think she took that cheat school class over the weekend or something. I think she did that. But I didn't know about it. But anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for being here, and look forward to hearing your comments below. Subscribe and hit your comments below, and I know where Todd lives, so I can hit him up, and we can ask him questions anytime you want. So please do so, and we'll see you back here next week. So thanks, everybody, and have a great week.